What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What is going on? Uh, listen, I'm over here tonight. Shit, I don't feel like doing none of the extra, no intro, no nothing. I just feel like getting down to some good old fashioned information, man. That's it. I just feel like getting down to some information. I'm going to share this out. I'm gonna share this stuff on now, man. And really after that, man, I just really want to get down to talking about the nitty gritty, man. I want to get to talking about really exposing exposing some things, man. And that's why I'm over here. I'm in the dark, like I'm a Texas Black Diamond or some shit, right? Uh, I'm over here in the dark, man. I'm over here, man. I'm getting it all together. Um, so with no further, with no further ado, man, we not finna do no whole bunch of build up tonight. Those of us who are here, we gonna catch it, and those who ain't here, they not gonna catch it. But I wanna get off into some stuff or whatever. And you know how I do it, man. I like to have I like to have um I like to have some photos and stuff, and I like to have some imagery because the mind works best um with imagery, right? If you got a photo to put it with, then it starts making more sense. Okay, things are easier to what's going on, darling? Things are easier to unpack once you have some imagery and stuff to put with it. So right now, man, this is Sony ATV Publishing, right? This is Sony ATV Publishing. This is their logo. Now, a lot of people don't know or may not understand that um, ATV Publishing it was originally owned by Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? He owned about half of it, right? So when they were saying Michael Jackson owns the Beatles catalogs and all of that, no, Michael Jackson didn't only own the Beatles catalogs, he owned everybody who was on Sony. Okay. And what you see here is you have these musical icons, Michael Jackson, Prince, R. Kelly. You have all of these public figures, and they go through, man. They live their lives going throughout, going in and out throughout their lives, man, maintaining everything the way that they normally would. And what happens is when they get later on in their career and your musical career is kind of slowing down, then they get sprung with these lawsuits. Now, when you are dealing with entertainers, they're moonwalking, they singing, they playing the piano. These are artsy people. And a lot of times people who are good with the arts aren't necessarily good in the classroom. Okay. I got a 4-year old about to turn 5-year old daughter, and I can look at her, and her mother she's very hell bent on like academics, right? Like academic, academic, academic. I can look at my kid and say, no, the academics, she's an artist, right? The academics, that's going to come to her, but you have to gear them towards what they do naturally, right? You could try to force things on them, but you always are going to have a problem trying to force things on a person that they can't naturally do themselves, right? So why am I saying all of this, right? Well, when you get these artists, the Michaels, the Prince, the R. Kellys, even when you start talking about like the Otis Reddings, who else has got major lawsuits? I mean, it spans all across entertainment. And so, I mean, let's go ahead, man. Let's say um, Bill Cosby. We got to talk about O.J. Simpson. You talking about these major black political figures and stuff. Because these folks they are juggernauts of entertainment. So what happens is they surpass the entertainment portal and they begin to move on into a larger and a much broader space, right? When they move into this larger and broader space, then you not only are influencing just the musical climate, but you are starting to impact the world, right? And so when you look at somebody, you talk about power, right? Power, if you watch the TV show, the Courtney Kemp and 50 Cent TV show, they're talking about power. And we look at it as a gang banging, drug dealing, killing show, but it's actually much deeper than that. Okay. It's actually way deeper than that. Because power, and if y'all have been following me for a while, y'all know that um I love to quote Dr. Francis Quest Wilson, right? And Dr. Francis Quest Wilson, along with with Mr. Neely Fuller, they start talking about the 9 areas of people activity. And what does that mean? What are the 9 areas of people activity? Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, sex, religion, and war. Those are the 9 areas of people activity. Whenever and drop a question mark in the chat if y'all need me to write that down. Okay. I'm gonna let me copy this from right here. And I'm gonna post this up because this is not meant to be entertainment. This is meant to be edutainment. Okay. This is meant to be edutainment. This is not entertainment tonight. This is edutainment. This that you see on the screen right down here, these are the 9 areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. When you're dealing with these massive entertainers, most of them they only understand entertainment, but they never begin to understand the other areas of people activity. And one of the things that permeates the black community is staying down, right? Um, in the black community, we keep ourselves in this psychological bubble, and everything inside of this bubble is blackness. The moment that you seek to go beyond the bubble and find what is greater in the world beyond the bubble, that is the moment that you are condemned, not by the outside world, but by your very own people. So, what am I saying? That naturally, when you are born, you are going to gravitate to one of these areas of activity, maybe 2 of these areas of activity. Sometimes you gravitate towards more areas of people activity, so on and so forth. The larger that you get and more that you grow, most times you are the last person to know, hey, I have grown. You are most of the time you are the last person to know that you have grown. everybody begins to know that you have grown, but you are oftentimes the last person to be aware that you have grown. And when you grow, you move beyond just your particular facet, but you move on into the greater facet of the world. All right. You move into the greater facet of the world. That's why you see that number six, right? The number six area of people activity is politics. Well, when Donald Trump got elected president, first thing he went and did was he bought Ray Lewis in, he bought Steve Harvey in, and he bought a slew of other entertainers in, because when you move past just one area of people activity, then you have the greater good or the greater whole, of which now you are starting to have influence over the greater good. Now I'm gonna stop filibustering and talking in circles and kind of start getting to some of my core essential points. Now, with Sony Music ATV Publishing, all right, this conglomerate this conglomerate known as Sony Music killed Michael Jackson. They killed Michael Jackson. Okay. There was foul play. The family believes that there was foul play behind the death of Michael Jackson. And if you listen to, I think it's Jackie Jackson's son. He talks about this. I think his name is like Shiggy or something like that. He did some interviews maybe 3-4 months ago, where he talked about, hey man, my uncle didn't die. They put a hit out on my uncle. He was killed. My uncle was murdered. Okay. When they got Conrad Mary to come in and administer propofol, they went ahead, they killed him. They killed him in order to finesse his musical catalog away from him. Now, they are notorious, right? They have been notorious, and excuse me, they've been notorious over time for getting an older artist, right? They can't get you when you're young. And for those of y'all who really don't understand business, all right, what I'm doing and what I have begun to do with the opinionated news network is I'm trying to get away from giving y'all all of this niggatry. Okay. I'm trying to get strictly to the information. All right. My stuff is for the deep thinkers. All right. Now, when you are younger, these music labels are not going to come after you. Why aren't they coming after you? Well, when you are younger, just the same way with any regular job, as though if you work for the post office, if you work for US Bank or any place like that, right? You are at the height of your earning potential when you first walk through the door. You're at the height of your earning potential when you first walk through the door. Now, record labels, they aren't what you think that they are. Record labels are just banks, okay? They are private banks. That's it. That's all. That's what they are. They're private banks. So they find an artist. Let's just say somebody like Avril Lavigne. Okay. So with Avril Lavigne, you're gonna go out, you're gonna sign an Avril Lavigne, you're gonna sign a India Irie, you're gonna sign a what's the boy who got murdered, rolled with Lil Durk, took him to the old God damn, what's the dude? King Von. Okay. You're gonna go and get King Von, you're gonna go and get the Key Glock, the guy who rolled with Young Dolph. You're gonna go and get Snooty Wild. You're gonna go and get all of these guys, right? And those of y'all who are familiar with rap, y'all kind of know who I'm talking about. A lot of these guys where they drop some hits, like the Playboy Cardi's, they drop some hits, but they don't really make you any money. Okay, you need an Avril Lavigne, a Rihanna, a Beyonce, somebody like that. This is who makes the music label the money. These other acts, hey, I'm putting out an advance, I'm putting money into you, but you're not really grossing me anything back. Like, for example, this girl, Money Long, okay, she got this song Hours and Hours and Hours, but that's like one hit, and she been in the music industry for like damn near 15 years. She's not, she don't really have the it factor, okay? When they are around for like ever, but their careers never take off, but they could do a whole bunch for other people's careers, it means that they're not really profitable. And so the record labels won't put money behind these people because they're not profitable. All right. So what does that mean in terms of Sony ATV publishing? Well, what's going on, man? So what that means is when you get to these music labels, they put artists out, and they might put out 10 artists. They expect for one artist to blow, and then the rest of the artists that they have, their expenses are going to be recouped off of this one artist. And that's the way that the music industry works. The same thing like with banks, okay? It's the same thing, okay? When you go to a bank, all right, when you go to a bank, the bank likes low risk. Okay, they like low risk, and they like less tax. So let me get to my original point. When you get these younger artists, these young guys who come out, the record label, they won't murder these younger guys like they have done to Michael Jackson, to Prince, stuff like that. Why? Because the way that contracts work, when somebody is young and they are in the height of their earning potential, you got to let them rock, because the statistics say this is only going to be for so long. And if you are a rapper, rapping is damn near like the NFL now. You got 3 good summers. After your 3 summers, man, don't nobody want to listen to you no more. Drake just dropped a new album. People ain't feeling the album like that. Why? Because the new car smell has worn off. It's been worn off, and people get bored with the same old things. So, just like this, these music labels, they go out, they give somebody an advance. When they give them an advance, they already have it calculated. Hey, this motherfucker is only going to earn us this back, blah, blah, blah. That's why you see so many artists talking about, hey, man, my record label is tripping. They won't let me do this. They won't let me do that. Record label, wah. But the record label gave them an advance. When they got the advance, they want to spend the money on chains, golds. Most of us as Black folks, we have a psychological issue with detaching ourselves from slavery and from the stigmatizations of being Black in America. So when we get our first hit of big money, we have to go and spend money on depreciating assets to prove something to ourselves. Okay. And you are trying to also not only prove something to yourself, but you're trying to prove stuff to other people who have less than you. The record label knows this. They bank on these types of things. So they give somebody, back in the day, they give you a $2-3 million advance. Nowadays, it might be 500, 400,000 that they might advance you. And they will give you this money, but they won't teach you how to grow any of this money, how to hang on to this money, how to budget this money, or how to use this money scarcely. Okay. Once you once you go in and record an album, they put and let me not get too far ahead of myself, but when you go in to create an album, the money that they have advanced you is for you to create the album. That's for you to pay the producers. That's for you to go and do your promotions. That's all of this. And so a lot of artists say, hey, I don't make no money off of my first couple albums. Well, yeah, you're not making any money because you have to recoup all of the expenses that have been advanced to you. What's the point of me telling you this? All right. The reason that the record labels don't go after younger guys or newer artists right away is because when you rap, when you are an entertainer, you have what is called a securities contract. And more importantly, that the security is your master recordings. Hola. The security is your master recordings, meaning the original copy. So if I go over here, I say tat 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 tat, hit the nigga with my gat, back, and let's just say I record it on this phone. I have to turn this phone in because that's the master recording of this, of which all of the other copies of this are made. This is the master. This is the original. This is what it sounded like when it came out of my mouth into the microphone. So, what else is a security contract? A mortgage loan is a security contract. You have a loan. What's going on, Shayla? You have a loan that is secured by your house. You have a loan, again, that is secured by your house. Well, what else is a security contract? A car payment is a security contract. It is secured by your vehicle. If you stop paying your car note, they come and repossess your vehicle. Well, then what's going on? If you are familiar with a term called APR, APR is your annual percentage rate. Okay? It's your annual percentage rate, meaning that the longer that you keep that contract is structured in such a way that in the beginning of the contract, you are paying all of your interest, meaning you are paying the bank themselves. After the bank then got all of their money, then you start eating into the principal debt that was owed. Okay. And so that's why you hear a lot of artists talk about, hey, I got gypped, I got ganked, I got for, hey, the record label, they charge you this, they don't tell you, they don't tell you that, hey, when I'm giving you this Benz, but I'm charging you with this plus interest. A lot of these artists don't know how to read contracts, but in the fine print, it's telling you, yeah, you could get this, but you're gonna get it with interest. These are regular people. They don't know They don't know that, hey, this ain't free. You're not giving me this. There is a cost associated with all of this. Okay? It's a cost associated with this. By the time you take this $100,000 and I might hire you today, or I might sign a record contract with you today. I'm gonna give you an advance tomorrow. But by the time you have to go and get with somebody to dress you up, make you over, that's going to take maybe 6 months, because everything now is about image. Okay. Second thing is about, you have to create a backstory. Okay. So you have to take time out to create the backstory. That's why they say a bunch of artists are one hit wonders. Why? Because before that first album come out, you have peace and silence, because don't nobody know who the hell you are to create your backstory. But until you're great, you can't sell people the next thing. Most artists run out of the next thing, and that's how they wind up going broke or getting kicked off the record label, because they can't keep that momentum going. Because okay, now you done sold me on your backstory. That was album number 1. When it gets to album number 2, what you gonna do? You gonna give me some more of the backstory? So hey, they either you gonna give them some more of the backstory, or you gonna make them be interested in the person you are becoming. However, during these first few albums, these are interest only payments. Okay, interest only payments. So a homework assignment for my deep thinkers is, go into one of your local banks, and if you own a house, go into your local bank, wherever it is that you bank at, and ask them for a home equity line of credit against your house. Ask for a home equity line of credit against your house. They gonna tell you, yeah, man, we got this real good thing. The first 2 years are interest only payments. Blah 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 blah. You ain't got to pay down none of the principal. Blah 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 blah. That's a trick. That is a trick. Okay. You only got to pay this. You ain't got to do this. You ain't got to do that. That's how they trick you and finesse you into bad deals. Because they tell you, oh, yeah, this is awesome. And this is what they do to these musical artists. This is what they did to R. Kelly. This is what they did to Prince. This is what they did to Michael Jackson. This is what they do to all of them. They did this to what's her name? Toni Braxton. They did this to MC Hammer. They did this to a bunch of people. So now they got you out here. You got this interest only thing going on. And now they got you signing what? 360 deals. Meaning that they collecting off of everything that you do. They collecting all of their money. They recouping all of their advance from everything that you do. So if you go out here and leverage the celebrity that they paid for, now the contracts want a piece of that too. So how do they finesse royalties? Sony has this history, right? And those of y'all who are my deep thinkers, I want y'all to research a guy by the name of Tommy Mottola. Okay. Research this guy. His name is Tommy Mottola. Okay. So, and let me flip my screen over here. What's going on, Pee Wee? Okay. So this is Tommy Mottola right here. And Michael Jackson, he's right here with Al Sharpton. He kind of tells you about Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is rumored to have set Michael Jackson up to be murdered. Okay. He's rumored to have set him up, to be murdered or what have you. And we have to say allegedly, but I mean, this is right here. If you go over here to this interview and you look this up, then you will find what I'm saying to be true. Okay? You will find what I'm saying to be true. All right. Now, I want to shift your focus from there, and I want to take you to here. Okay. And we ain't gotta read very far. All right, it says Thomas Daniel Mottola is an American music executive, producer, and author. Mottola is currently the chairman of Mottola Media Group and was previously the chairman and CEO of Sony Music Entertainment. Okay, and then when you come down here, it tells you really how all of this stuff went down. Okay, it tells you how it went down. It tells you kind of what his credentials are, and you can read that on your own time. I'm just giving y'all like, I'm giving y'all the basic cliff notes. Okay, y'all have to go and do the research yourself. But again, it was rumored. Yes, he was Mariah Carey's ex-husband. Yes, he sure was. It has been heavily speculated and rumored. I was not there, so I can't speak to the legitimacy of it, that he was behind Michael Jackson being murdered. Again, we don't know this definitively, but all I got to do is say, listen to Michael Jackson. Okay, go in your own time, go and do the research. He was behind Michael being murdered. Now, what's the importance of this? The importance of this is that when you have these security contracts are front loaded. Okay, they're front loaded, and I'm about to take this banner off because if y'all call me tonight, I probably ain't gonna answer no damn way. But security contracts most of the time are front loaded, meaning that you are getting most of your money in the beginning. All right, you getting most of your money in the beginning. That's how the bank gets all of their money. And when you are getting all your money up front, the game is not meant for you to outlast your contract. Okay, meaning the statistics. Okay, the statistics, because remember, bankers run the world. You could be the best. You could have the best sex. You can have the most drip. You can be the swaggiest person out here. You can have the most bitches. You can have the most cars. But guess what? Bankers run the world. Okay? Bankers run the world. Okay? Now, when I created this channel, I was a W-2 employee. I had a job. So all I could tell you about was how to be a better worker. But now that I'm a business owner full time, I can tell you how a bank works. How can I tell you how a bank works? The reason that I can tell you how a bank works is because That is what I do all day, every day now. Okay. So the nerdy ass dude who got no bitches in high school is the motherfucker who is running your world. Okay. So what is power? Okay. When we're talking about those 9 areas of people activity, well, what is power? Power is the ability to control resources. How do you control resources? With the law and politics. The law and politics really determine all of the other areas of people activity. Well, what do you mean, Trent? What you mean when you say that? Let's examine it. The area of people activity number 1, economics. Okay, economics, and I'm gonna break this down on a GED level. Y'all probably ain't heard me say that in 2 years. Nah, I'm breaking this shit down on a GED level. Economics is the study of money. How money moves, how money flows, and how it transitions. Economically, you are dependent upon the laws that are made by the politicians. Okay. People area number 5, the law, is dependent upon 6, the politicians, to enact it. So you have economics. Okay. But inside of your economics, you have people who are studying what's coming out of the Federal Reserve. What's the Federal Reserve rate? What is everything in this nation is built off of Wall Street. Okay. And so when you go in, those of y'all who have mortgages, those of y'all who own land, read through what your document says. I guarantee you, if you go through and read through there, they gonna say, hey, you got this land. This is what this is secured with. Your interest rate is what? 4.6, 4.2, 4.7, 5.6, 6.3. This is what your interest rate is on this. How did we determine what your interest rate is? Based on the Wall Street prime rate. The Wall Street prime rate most of the time is like 1.25. Okay, that's the interest rate that Wall Street is dealing with the FTC, the Security Exchange Commissions, and stuff like that, saying, hey, the prime rate of money movement is 1.25. So when you go to your bank don't got no fucking money, okay? Your bank got money for the interest of saying that they have money, but when you go to US Bank, when you go to Regions, when you go to PNC, when you go to BMO Harris, when you go to Busey, you go to Bank of America, all of these different banks, right? Commerce Bank. These banks don't have money. These banks borrow money from the Federal Reserve. And when the bank borrows money from the Federal Reserve, what does it do? It turns back around and it lends that money back out with interest on it. And that's how banks most make their money. Most banks make their money based off of interest. Okay? Banks make their money based off of interest, right? And right now, I'm not trying to hit y'all with a whole bunch of documentation because I'm just giving y'all some nuggets for y'all to go back and rewind this and for y'all to come up with y'all own. Y'all got to go and do y'all own research on this one tonight. So basically, all right, Once you start talking about the prime rate, then this is when everything starts to switch up. This is when the game starts to switch up. Because once Wall Street publishes, hey, this is our prime rate, this is what this is the rate at which money should be transferred and or fucking lent out, whatever. This is what we see. This is how we suggest you should go and get your money. All right. And so they come up with this prime rate. And the prime rate is those people who have deep pockets. Okay. Those folks who have deep pockets, when they go into the bank, they get lent money at this prime rate. What's the prime rate? Prime rate be like 1.5, 1.25, blah, 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 blah. Okay. This is what Wall Street says you should lend money at. Okay. So now these big corporations, they might go to the bank. They might get their money. The bank gets lent money from the Federal Reserve at a 0.75% interest rate. That's less than 1%. Okay. A point 0.075 is the rate at which your bank going and borrows money from the Federal Reserve. Okay. Wall Street says this is what the prime rate is. So when you start talking about the big financial institutions, they go and get money from a bank, but they are getting that money at the Wall Street prime rate, maybe a little bit more tacked on, maybe a little bit less, but they are getting this money cheap. They getting cheap money. So when you start talking about, hey, you went in and you got a car loan, you got a mortgage loan, or I'm sorry, you got a car loan, you got you a payday loan, you got you a cash advance loan, blah, blah, blah. Well, they intentionally put things out there in the mix to keep you having bad credit so they can mark the interest up, and that's how you get paid. Right? And y'all, I know y'all want to know how Sony is behind the R. Kelly shit. We're going to get to that. But I got to build it up or whatever so we can get you there. So now, when you start looking at this prime rate percentage, this prime rate is how some of the other banks that you go to get their money. Now, those of y'all who are still with me, maybe y'all had to go out buy some appliances, right? Maybe your stove went out. Maybe you moved to a new place, you needed some new furniture. Maybe you needed a new refrigerator. Let's just say you needed something. And you ain't necessarily want to go through a bigger bank, but you going through one of these little smaller companies that say, hey, you ain't got some money for it, don't trip. Put it on a payment plan and pay us off over time. Right? Then I say, all right, look, if you pay this thing off in 90 days, or if you pay it off in so long, it's going to be just the same as cash. Minus the money that they charge you for taking your application and some other little charges. It's going to be the same as cash. Well, they get kickbacks and stuff like that for sending so much business over there, but that's outside the scope of what I'm talking about. Now, back to the point. When you are dealing with your record labels, the Sony Music, all of them, they are going to the banks. They got a major account with, let's just say, US Bank. Or if they really got some major paper, they might have some banks you ain't never heard of, because it's some banks that's so exclusive that they are way beyond your normal little corner store type bullshit. Okay, like how you got a Bank of America on every corner. It's some banks that's so prestigious, man. These motherfuckers ain't even, they don't even have offices that are labeled. Okay, but let's just say it's somebody like Sony Music. Sony Music might borrow their money from the rate from the bank, and maybe, let's call it, if the Wall Street prime rate is 1.25, they might borrow their money at maybe a 1.75, maybe let's just say 2%. Okay, they go out, they give advances, and then they can wait for one artist to pop. Once that one artist pop, then they go and recoup their advances and they make their money triple times over. Now, remind you, okay, when you start talking about real money, that credit score shit go out the window when you talking about real money. Because what it really comes down to is, fuck your credit score. What type of money are you making? If you can show me where you making money, man, you can walk into the bank. All bullshit aside. You walk into the bank with a 550 credit score, but show where you got deposits of, $4 million coming into your account on a consistent basis. You can go and get something before somebody who got an 800 credit score, dude, because you can show that you can pay it back. Real talk. What does that have to do with all the rest of this? Now, Sony has the rights, the publishing, to all of R. Kelly's music. And he outlasted the music industry, which nobody expected him to do. Okay. So when you begin to outlast the music industry, then, hey, we gonna have to unask these security assets. Okay. You beat our calculations. Okay. What does that mean? Well, if copyright law states that a record label has the rights to some music for 25 years. After 25 years, that then reverts back to the owner or the artist or the producer who made the music. But most artists can't last 25 years. And that's how these record labels get by. So when you become a musical artist, what's the first thing they do? They introduce you to women who ain't no good for you. And then they introduce you to drugs. They give you a vice. Okay. You get a vice. Okay. If cocaine is your vice, they give you cocaine. If bitches with Brazilian butt lifts is your vice, they gonna give you bitches with Brazilian butt lifts. Okay, if sugar is your vice, they gonna give your ass diabetes. If money is your vice, then they gonna give you all of the things money could buy. They gonna make everything available to you. Because right now you are a security asset. So the best way to think about this is to think about it in these terms. I make $100,000 a year. My household expenses are gonna cost me 40,000. Taxes are gonna cost me 30,000. So now I'm at 70,000. I want to take a portion of that, let's say 15% of that money, and I want to invest that money into stocks. Okay. Now, this is how a record label treats its artists. They are investing money into a stock. So a stock that I think is going to grow, I'm going to put a big ass investment over there. So that's why the bigger the artist, somebody like Beyonce, well, they're gonna have a budget of maybe $20 million on a project. Why? Because I know based off of name recognition alone, she's good for it. I'm gonna see all of that money back. But somebody who's struggling to move units, somebody like Ari Lennox, like she's nice, she's cool, but she's nothing to write home to mom about. Okay? Nothing to write home to mom about. She's just a cool, average artist that's gonna be forgettable 10 years from now. And I'm not saying this to shit on nobody's musical choices. Whoever you like, you like. I'm just using these as examples. They invest in these artists or whatever. These artists are nothing more than stocks on the stock market to them. Now, I'm going to go and get you hooked on some drugs. I'm going to get you hooked on all of these vices. And when you come through the door, when you are in the height of your earning potential, I'm going to make these things readily accessible. Once you begin to slow down and your earning potential is beginning to dampen, then, hey, these things that I was making accessible to you, well, now I'm going to start charging you a premium on this. This stuff that I was making accessible to you, hey, that was a loan. Now you done dropped your albums and stuff like that. Hey, I'm taking all of your money. Now that you're taking all my money, now you have to borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow against me till what? I finally just cut you off. Hey, you done borrowed too much. I can't do shit else for you. No, you about to be out here broke. I done gave you some habits. I done gave you a lifestyle. I done gave you some notoriety, some fame. I got you used to a standard of living that you can no longer afford anymore. But hey, you sell me the rights to your music and stuff back. Then hey, I give you a little advance. Most artists are hurting. So what do? Go ahead and sell them. But when they know that you hurting, they start running stories over there. They'll call up the blogs because a lot of people look at the media takeouts. They look at the TMZs. They look at Madame Noir and all these the shade room, and they think that people just got caught slipping. No, people with money, people who are predators, call up these news publications. And it's been this way for the longest time. If you want to control the thinking of the age, then you need to control the printed page. This go all the way back to the 1400s with the Gutenberg press with Martin Luther, the person who Martin Luther King is named after. This is the reason why it's a Bible inside of every hotel room that you have for the most part. But it ain't no damn praying going on in no hotel room. Because if you want to control the thinking of the age, then you need to control the printed page. So when somebody wants to devalue an asset. You call up this newspaper article, a la Shade Room, a la World Star Hip Hop, a la um um Gail King, or whoever it is, right? Because really, the bigger the star, the bigger the news corporation is that's behind it. The bigger the star, the biggest the news corporation is that covers that star. So media takeout, that's for low budget motherfuckers. That's for people who they might have some fame and notoriety, but they don't really have a lot of money. People mistake vision with money. Okay. You might see a person a lot, but that don't mean that they got a lot of money. If you think about it, the more money you have, the less motivation you have to do shit that you really don't want to do. So when you see Ricky Smiley on the morning show every morning, who the hell wants to wake up at 4:35 in the morning every morning to talk to people while they on their way to work? Okay? He might have more money than you, but he ain't got no whole bunch of money. These are strictly examples, by the way. So what does that mean? That means that they go in here, they follow these artists, they make sure that these artists are broke. Okay. They set them up to become broke. When they start to see that they are in financial distress, they will start printing stuff up. Hey, homeboy that fell off, young thug that fell off, this person that fell off, that person, they that fell off. Look at them, they over here begging, or look at the shoes they got on. Look, hey, I thought this person was this big ass store. Look at this little bitty ass house they live in. Come on, man. This they call TMZ don't catch that many niggas slipping. Folks are folks are calling them to cover these stories, to do these stories, these record labels. Why? Because they are stock assets. If you study the Jewish people do something called shorting a stock. So if you fuck with one Jewish person, the Jewish community, they all congregate together. They will buy stocks of one company. Then once they buy a stock of one company, all of them will pull all of their money that they'll pull all their money back out of the company all at one time. And what happens? The stock cap of the company might have went from 50 billion all the way down to what? A couple, you know what I'm saying? It might went from 50 billion down to 1 billion, 2 billion, maybe 900 million all at one time because they didn't shorted the stock. And this is what these record labels do to their artists. This is what they do. Now, I'm into the good piece. I'm getting to the good piece of this because we right at the hour mark, and I be trying not to make these things go super long anymore. So let's talk about forensic accounting. Now, in the case of R. Kelly, if there was an enterprise, the culprit of the enterprise has to be Sony Music, ATV Publishing. Okay, Phoenix Rise and say, keep going. Okay, keep going. I gotta know, man, y'all gotta let me know what type of stuff y'all like to hear because I be real cognizant of time and I try not to make this stuff be too boring to you. I try to drop information out off on you, but I don't want to have information overload. So y'all gotta let me know how I'm doing so that I'm not boring y'all to death or I'm not filibustering and going off on a rant or a tangent and I'm losing y'all interest. But with that being said, you have to check the forensic accounting. You have to hire a forensic accountant to know where the money went. Where did the money go to? Who has the money? This man could not have been in control of his money like that. So who was in control of the money? The money came in from Sony, but where did the money go to? How was it divvied up? Who controlled the money? Again, how did money go to several different RSK enterprises? Okay, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is Sony is too big of a company to not pay taxes. Sony is too big of a company to not pay taxes. They are too big of a company to not pay taxes. If y'all still awake, if y'all hear what I'm saying, write the word taxes in the chat. I'm going somewhere with this one. You know what I'm saying? But I want to know who all is with me, who all is listening, and who all just got their phone on and they got this going, this background noise. I want to know who all is with. Sony is too big of a company to not pay taxes. So write taxes in the chat. Okay, Sir Miguel, Phoenix Rising. Okay, KS. Okay. All right. I mean, I see that. Hey, man, we got 45 people here, so you know, I know it's more than 3 people who got to be listening. I know at least 9, 10 people got to be listening. All right. You know, if you okay, Jocelyn Hemp Hill. Okay, taxes. Okay. All right. Sony is too big of a company to not pay taxes. So when royalties were being paid out, advances were being paid out, they had to go somewhere. Remember, you dealing with what? Name, image, likeness. 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 Most singers are singing under what? A moniker. Most singers are singing under a moniker. For those of y'all who are on a GED level, that means a stage name. Or in the business world, we would call it a DBA. And in the business world, we would call that DB. We have to file a DBA. DBA stands for doing business as. DBA stands for doing business as. A moniker equals DBA hyphen doing business as. All right, so basically this means that a moniker is the same thing as a DBA, which means doing business as. In order for you to have a DBA, you have to have a fictitious name registered with the Secretary of State. You have to have a fictitious name registered with the Secretary of State. Okay, a fictitious name is your stage name. There's nobody named R. Kelly. That man's name is Robert Sylvester Kelly. So when Sony was writing checks, they had to write a check to R. Kelly. R. Kelly, name, image, likeness. That's a trademark. Trademark is a business. Okay. So this guy was Robert Sylvester Kelly doing business as or under the moniker of R. Kelly. So when Sony was writing a check, for Sony to write a check, Sony has to have income. Okay, at the end of the year, when they file their annual registration, right? When they are filing their annual registration, when they're preparing their taxes, they had to say, yeah, well, we had $6 billion, right? We got a $6 billion loan from, let's just call them ABC Bank. But that $6 billion that we had in income this year, well, hey, we got these expenses, okay? Because when you file your taxes, you are only paying taxes on your taxable income. That means the money you have left after your deductions. And Sony is a type of corporation. They don't just have one accountant. They have a team of accountants. But they don't just have a team of accountants in one place. They got a team of accountants scattered all over this world. Because Sony is everywhere. That accountant is too many transactions. It's too much business being done for there to be one accountant. There are probably 200-300 accountants that work for these folks. Three or four firms of accountants that work for these people. And I'm talking about on a low end. It's probably way more than that. But hypothetically speaking, they got a team of accountants that's counting their expenses. When these expenses go out, they have to record where the hell they are sending the money to. What do I mean by that? We got loaned $6 billion by Bank ABC. They got the money from the Federal Reserve. Okay, boom. Well, the interest that you are paying on money that you borrowed is tax deductible. That's your first tax deductible. First tax deduction. Your expenses are tax deductible because what? They bite down your amount of taxable income. You can go find this information all over YouTube, man. I'm not new. I'm not saying anything that's brand new or anything that I learned today. Well, once they start filing down your taxable income, then you have to make sure that everything you're saying is right, because the IRS can come in and audit you. So not only do you have to say where this stuff went to, where your money went to, but do you got a 1099 for these people? Do you have a what do you have from these people? What is their IRS employee identification number? Or more commonly, what is the EIN number for these folks? So when Sony ATV, when Sony RCA, Jive, when they were paying all these different RSK enterprises, who signed off on saying, hey, this is where R. Kelly wants his money to go? This is where Rob wants his money to go. When they have paid all of these different people, who signed off on this? Who signed off on this? Who signed off on it? Because when you file this, somebody has to walk into Sony, fill out a W-4 form, a 1099 form, a W-2. Somebody had to fill out a form that says, hey, this is the name of our business. Send the checks to this business here. What does that mean? What does it mean? None of the money was coming to R. Kelly himself. No, R. Kelly the man, Robert Sylvester Kelly the man. Because what are we dealing with? We are dealing with name, image, and likeness. These are business entities. These are trademarks. Trademarks is the mark of a business. It's not the mark of a person. It is the mark of a business. Okay? It's the mark of a business. The money is coming into RSK Enterprises, Bass Unlimited, blah, blah, blah. Well, where's the article of incorporation with the state? Where are they? Where's the articles of incorporation? Where are the articles at? Can't nobody, now Sony don't know where the articles are. Sony, how can Sony not be complicit in this 30-year sentence when, hey, the money went out? Y'all claimed it as an expense on the taxes, but where did the money go to? And how were you sure that the money was going to the right person? Did this man sign a power of attorney over for somebody to act on his behalf? And then how do you have 8 different people with your power of attorney? Come on. For power of attorney, you got to go and get some notaries and some more stuff. So again, you can't just, even if you go and forge the man's name, you need to have a driver's license and you need to go to a notary, because a notary just verifies this is this person who did this. This is this person who did this. Okay? So now, with Sony being the ones who sent this money out, who did they send the money to? Who did they send the money to? Okay? And how do you know you were sending this money to the right person? This is the enterprise. Okay? It's no way that this man can go down for a RICO charge stating this is the enterprise. The enterprise, the enterprise, the enterprise, enterprise. They use that word enterprise like 112 times in that damn indictment. But they never really fully explained what exactly the enterprise was. Handlers, runners, all of this and all of that, blah, blah, blah. Y'all are explaining a bunch of niggas doing regular everyday tasks. Okay. This is loose. That's not okay. In order for you to be an enterprise, y'all have to have a what? Operating agreement. You have to have an operating agreement. What they're calling a RICO case, okay, this is racketeering influence criminal enterprise. Well, who has an operating agreement? Your business that filed to be recognized by the Secretary of State. Okay? They filed to be recognized by the Secretary of State. So what does that mean? I'm going to tell you what that means. Give me a second. I'm going to tell you what it means. What that means is your operating agreement details. We got Pee Wee Mac. Pee Wee Mac, right? Pee Wee Mac is the treasurer of the Opinionated News Network. Shireen is the chief administrative officer of political outreach, religious and political outreach. Darlene April is she is the head of marketing and promotion. Phoenix Rising is the chief operational officer. Okay. Sir Miguel here, he is security. Okay. Shayla right here, Shayla is public relations. Jojo here is the Secretary of State. He's the Secretary of State. These are positions. Now, once we start looking at, okay, boom, this person works here, this is their job, this person works there, that's their job, This is our operating agreement. This is what we have taken to the Secretary of State. We are taking this to the government. We say that, hey, this is the uniform agreement that we operate under. These are our people. These are our board of directors. This is how we are operating. Now we are a enterprise. A bunch of niggas doing a bunch of one-off tasks. That is not an enterprise. These niggas don't have positions. Okay? They say handlers, runners, and other agents. Okay? Basically, do boys. Where is the organization? Where's the organization? Okay. Robert Sylvester Kelly goes by a stage name R. Kelly. He ran a racketeer influence enterprise for the sole purpose of luring young girls into persuasive sexual activities. Sony. This man could not have been a freak like this and it not have been a known fact. Okay. They throw all types of parties. And when you start talking about females smearing feces and shit all over themselves, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I have been in the streets, man, for a damn near 20 years at this point. I'm not proud of that, but I'm just saying that to qualify what I'm about to say. When you start talking about you getting into that type of stuff, because don't be fooled. Please don't be fooled. If you hear a bunch of females who talk this stuff, like you listen to you can listen to the females' music now. You can listen to Megan Thee Stallion. It's this new girl called Big Boss Vet. You listen to Young Miami from the City Girls. You listen to all of these girls, and they all talk about how great and how sweet they pussy is, and how good they pussy is, and how they can put it on somebody and fuck their life up, and all of this. And listen, all this cussing that I'm doing probably is gonna cost me monetization on this, but I don't care about that. Right now, I'm about to speak my truth. With all these women saying all these things about how great they sex is, as a player who done been there, who done had sex all over the country and all over the world, a lot of women talk that shit, man. But it's a unique, closeted group of freaks. Okay, women who are into just weird shit. Okay, okay. These ain't your regular, average, everyday, run of the mill folks, man. Okay, girls who are into all of this shit, like rubbing shit on themselves, man. That is a weirdo group of people, man, who all know each other. And you have these closeted groups of people who do that in every city, man. Like if you are in a city or you ever been part of a swingers group, that shit is damn near like a secret society, man. And those of y'all who don't know, y'all just don't know. But those of y'all who are in the know, y'all are in the know. Okay, if you a swinger and let's just say you live in Milwaukee, man, you know just about all of the other swingers who live in Milwaukee, man, because it's only so many of y'all. It's only so many of y'all, and you have to have what? A need to know. The federal government. Just because you got a top secret security clearance and you got a file that's classified at the top secret level, don't mean that you can access this. You need to have a need to know. A need to know. Who needs to know more than the company that's getting ready to put $20 million in the marketing and promotion of your next project? What does that mean? That means that if all of this shit was going down, Sony knew about this shit, man. If all of this shit was going down, Sony knew about it. And Sony aided and supported in the doing of this. I'm not talking to you from emotion. I'm not even talking to you from conspiracy theory. I'm talking to you based on the facts. What do I mean the facts? Trent, you ain't presented no documentation. I don't have to have documentation because I am explaining to you just strictly based off of pure order of operation of the laws of the United States of America, that if they did not know, they reasonably should have known. Okay? They reasonably should have known. When you have a young boy who's getting ready to go into the NFL, they screen him. Not only do they screen him, they give him private investigators. Not only do they give private investigators, they run a comprehensive background check to see what is in this person's background. When you watch these NFL players play on Sunday, and what happens? Sometimes those guys who get drafted in the first round, they go on to become great. Then sometimes these guys who are from these small schools, drafted in the later rounds, these guys go on to become Hall of Famers. Jerry Rice is one of those guys. Brett Favre, okay? Tom Brady, Marvin Harrison, Terrell Owens. Guys drafted in the later rounds go on to become superstars because they may have had something in their background that was not necessarily liked, and that bumped down their draft positioning. But they go and research these guys. And basically, you know what I'm saying, not to get off topic, but staying in line with what we're talking about. The NFL draft don't really mean anything, man. Yeah, like people think that, okay, this guy's the first overall pick. He must be the best guy out there. No. When you looking at these picks, these guys are good, but it's okay, hey, this pick is associated with this type of money. Okay. And with this type of money, this person is way too unstable based on our background research that we got from our private investigator for us to be on the hook to this guy for $22 million over 5 years. Let's push him down to the 5th round where all we got to do is guarantee $500,000 for this motherfucker, and we can see where he go from there. Y'all don't think that they do that? Y'all don't think that they do that? That's the type of stuff that they do. Think different, man. Inside of any multi-million-dollar corporation, notice I said million. I ain't say billion. If you got a multi-million-dollar corporation, you have a team of people called what? Loss mitigation. You got a team of people called loss mitigation. If you ever heard of the term loss mitigation, drop a 1 in the chat. Inside of any multi-million-dollar corporation, you have a loss mitigation team. The purpose of the loss mitigation team is to track the losses, to make sure that you're not bleeding too much money, and to keep your corporation in the positive. That's the purpose of the loss mitigation team. That's their purpose. If I'm lying, I'm flying. My feet ain't left the ground. So when you talk about R. Kelly got off on the 2002, 2003 trial, of course, Sony just went out there and they promoted him. They spent $20 million to promote. All right. So when they PIs or whatever, and they guys who are in law enforcement got a hold of this, well, hey, yeah, we're going to have to send some lawyers down there to Chicago to make sure that he get off on this, because we have invested far too much money in this. We cannot let him go down. We can't let him go down. We have to go and send somebody down here, because Joe ain't a big enough artist to pull the type of revenue in that he is. Avant, he's cool, but Avant don't generate that type of audience. He can't get people in to go and get this stuff. Not only is this guy doing this, but come on, man, nobody would listen to these guys. B2K, Amorion can't fucking sing. I'm not even trying to be funny, man. I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to intentionally speak vulgarity by doing all of this cussing. But I'm just saying, you got all of these untalented ass artists that he done took and he done wrote hits for. Nah, man. Hey, bro, we gonna have to get this dude out. So when they talk about the enterprise, why is it that Sony was never listed in this? Could it be that Sony orchestrated this? I mean, the timing of this with what was getting ready to happen financially is impeccable. Remember, R. Kelly himself originally went to Greenberg to get his royalties back. He originally went to Greenberg to get royalties. All right. You go ask for your royalty back. Hey, listen, I was high. I was fucking them girls. No, whatever their ages was. We're gonna throw that to the side for right now. We just gonna strictly talk business. I was high when I was young. I was fucking them girls. I was having threesomes and stuff. I didn't know what I was signing. Now I'm older, and my masters, my recordings, this is my social security. Why ain't I getting what I'm supposed to be getting? Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, me at 50, me at 52, me at 53, I'm wiser than I was at 22, 23, 32, 33. Why is it that my accountant ain't never sent me a financial statement? Why is it that I don't have my own team of financial people coming through here? Where has my money been going to? How did my money get over here to this other RSK enterprise without me signing off on this? I might have been high. I went that goddamn high. I might have been fucking with some young pussy, but that bitch ain't had me that head over heels to where I didn't sign my power of attorney over to this person who done created this whole nother company, and my money been going over here, or I'm over here again. I'm not going out to seek these young girls. So how are they getting back here? How are they getting back here? I didn't hire this person who went and got this young bitch. This person worked for Sony. Who bought this young girl to me? In the IMN song, I believe that I done been set up. That the lyrics say that. I believe that I have been set up. Come on, man. The O in RICO. RICO is an acronym. It stands for Racketeering Influence Criminal Organization. The last letter, the O in that stands for organization. Ain't nothing about this man's life organized. Nothing. His life was a bumbling pile of niggotry. And I'm just keeping it raw with how I'm delivering my message. His life was a bumbling pile of niggotry. With this stuff being a bumbling pile of niggotry, where was their organization at? Okay, because it sounds like from what you read in the way that this stuff is written, they really think that we stupid. Because the only organization came with the fucking. Like, oh, damn. Let me show up to this concert. Okay. And let me go get some young pussy I ain't supposed to get. Okay. Yeah. Get her a plane ticket. Tell her to be over here at John F. Kennedy Airport at approximately 11:13 p.m. The flight gonna take off at 12:15 a.m. p.m. whatever. And we're gonna fly over here. I'm going to get you. I'm going to have a driver. His name is going to be Benjamin. He's going to pick you up in a black Lincoln Navigator, transport you approximately 17.1 miles, where I'm going to be at this hotel. This is going to be the room key. I want you to come in. Hey, boom. When you get in, do this activity, blah, 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 blah. The way that they wrote this case, it will lead you to believe that these girls have an itinerary. To my understanding, it wasn't no itinerary. These bitches just showed up. They showed up and they got fucked, and then they got kicked to the curb and they got left. It's that. I mean, come on. Sony killed Michael Jackson. Sony paid these people. Sony knows who all was in the criminal enterprise. Okay, where did the money go to, Sony? They then report he had $5 million that was funneled to the bank account of his friend. This money is funneled to the bank account of your friend. Well, again, here they go telling on themselves. This is where they go telling on themselves. Why? Well, when that case came in from the Eastern District of New York, and it's a RICO case, well, what's over there in what's over there in the Eastern District? That's where the banks and shit are at. Okay. So when they went in and they said this money is being funneled over here, why? Because they placed a freeze on the bank account where they can seize money coming into a specific bank account. Okay. So what do? You go in and you reroute your money. Because the way that the way that the law is set up is they go and get a summary judgment. They freeze your bank accounts from the money that's coming in, debits, whatever else. It's frozen. Money can come in, but it can't go back out. If I'm preparing for a trial, my money is in here. Now my money is frozen for whatever reason. It's a business bank account, man. This is not a personal bank account that's frozen. It got to be a business bank account that's frozen. So in order to get around that, I am going to transfer my money to a completely different LLC. Okay? Now, why are the prosecutors bitching and complaining? If you know, listen, if you know that this man has been freezing his money and you haven't shut it down, I mean, come on, man. Y'all broke into a warehouse and stole 100 devices. Y'all broke into a warehouse and bought 100 devices. Y'all took all this man's shit. So y'all mean to tell me y'all bitching and complaining about what? These folks were essentially bitching and complaining. Some money went over here to a friend. Well, since y'all froze my shit up, by the way, I'm going to send my money over here to a new bank account, a new LLC. That freeze order that you put in with the bank where you went in and froze that is tied to this name and this bank account and this EIN number. But I got a whole nother name that I want my shit sent to now with a whole nother bank account and a whole new EIN number. This is the way that the game goes. I'm just talking to y'all about business, the way business works. Now, why was none of the actors sentenced? It's Sony ATV orchestrated. It's orchestrated. They did the same thing to Michael. They followed this exact same playbook. First, it was Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Then it went to Wacko Jacko. And then they wanted us to believe that Michael raped these little bitty kids who was over in Never Never Land. And didn't nobody buy that shit. They took him through a long trial for what? They took him through a long trial to exhaust all of his money. What does that mean? Michael as an individual might have been asset rich and cash poor. What does that mean? When you see these rappers talking about money, they got money phones. I'm doing a money dance, and they go out here, they floss all of this money. Your money is subject to inflation. That's not a shelter for your money. When you really got money, you seek your money, you put your money into an asset that you can go back and borrow against if times get rough and you need to liquidate and downsize. That's what you do. When you really got some money, you keep, if I'm worth 100 million, I probably got about 3 to 5 million of that in cash. 3 to 5 million in cash. Fuck it. Let's just call it. Let's just say I got 15 million in cash. Rest of it's gonna be in some apartment buildings. I'm gonna drop a little bit of money into a money market account. Drop maybe a few dollars into a life insurance policy. Um, put my money over here into maybe let's just say I'm gonna put $400,000 into the stock market. But most of my money is gonna be tied up in property. Why? Because if I own this property outright, I can go back to the bank and get a loan against my own property and use that to go and make some more money. But they don't teach financial literacy to artists when they go and sign them. What's the first thing they do? They give them drugs and women. They feed their vices first. Okay? They feed their vices. Okay? And once they go in, they start feeding their vices. Then they put them into a trance. They go in and take everything that this person has before that person sobers up and realizes the game that's being played on them. This is the way that it works. So they go in, they bleed these people out. Same way they did Michael. Michael beat the case. Then Michael did that This Is It tour. Tour sold out in a day, and all of the debts that Michael owed, he was going to be able to pay back. Once Michael outsmarted them, then they sent Conrad Mary in to administer propofol, which ultimately ended up killing Michael Jackson. And if I'm lying, why is it that like Conrad Mary or whatever, he had to go meet before the medical board, and I think that he faced some sanctions and shit behind that. I don't know if he got. I think he might have got his medical license stripped. Something. They sent him in there to administer the hit. Now, Michael owned a hefty publishing company. And Michael was a world phenomenon. R. Kelly ain't a world phenomenon. He just mean a lot to black people. R. Kelly's core audience was black people. He made nigga music. Okay. All right. So he's not a star on the same stratosphere that Michael was. That's how Michael was able to beat his case, just based off of his celebrity alone and world recognition. Michael can go in and sell these $10,000 front row seats to his concert that holds, a venue that might hold 35, 40,000 people. And the cheapest seat you can find in there is like three or four grand. Michael was on that type of level. So Michael, through these concerts, he got himself out of debt. He got back liquid, and he was getting ready to do the This Is It tour. That's when they came and got him. He was never supposed to be smart enough to own half of Sony ATV Publishing. Same thing. Now let's transpose that with R. Kelly. He was never supposed to be able to stand the test of time and outlast the music industry. I'm not going to let a blue chip stock walk away from my portfolio. I don't give a damn how big it is. We're not talking about no damn Naughty by Nature. This ain't no diss to Naughty by Nature, but if you got Naughty by Nature in your musical catalog, you don't give a damn about these dudes. Their biggest song was You Down with OPP. That was their biggest song. Versus somebody who got 400 songs, and all of them is his biggest song. Now, nobody from Sony was named in this lawsuit. None of them got convicted. Sony wrote all of the checks. Who did they write them to? The person who's at the very root of this, who was their custody turned over to? It was turned over to the record label, not the man. Now, they held a Kangaroo Court where the judge was a sex crimes prosecutor. Okay? This is orchestrated. This stuff does not happen by chance. You got somebody who made their career off of sex crimes prosecution as the judge. She already has a bias. Then you go in, you change up the wording and recharge somebody for some charges they already have faced. Doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. Now, they talking about that money. You put that money into a trust where the money can't be touched. So all of these girls, all of these so-called victims who say they just want to bring him to justice, okay. Why is the prosecution talking about, well, Keith got the money and Keith got this and all that, when your concern was bringing him to justice? Bringing him to justice. He's convicted. Why are you concerned about all the rest of it? You're supposed to be bringing him to justice. You are already trying to plot how you can profit off of this. We thought it was about justice. However, I hope that I did a good and decent and thorough job of exposing how he got the 30-year sentence. I hope I did a good, decent job of explaining how we arrived at this 30-year sentence. Okay? You can't just based off of common sense, right? I ain't researched this stuff. I didn't research this. I ain't researched none of this stuff prior to coming online. But just common sense is telling me it's more to this story. It's more to this story. And somebody is on the take. Just by common sense, we know that somebody sent a check somewhere, someplace, to someone. Who did the check go to? What was the frequency that the checks were? What was the frequency of the checks coming out? What was the check number? Okay, and where was the money wired to? Okay, where was the money ACH to? Once you find out where the money was ACH to, then you go to that account. And once you go to that account, then That's how you go and you say, okay, boom, this money came into here on this date at this time. Okay, all right, now that this money came into here, where did this money go back out to? I see these niggas stop this Smoothie King and Church's Chicken, but where else did the money go to? Where did the money go to? It's the $1 million question. Where did the money go? You find the money, you find the enterprise. There was no enterprise. They did not prove their case. This was a chicken noodle soup of a case where these dudes, they cut up some salami, they cut up some a bunch of stuff, threw it in a pot, made some gumbo. You bringing all types of stuff out of thin air. It definitely, Daryl McDavid ain't the only one who got the money though, KS. Where did the money go to? That doesn't even make sense. Okay? If Daryl McDavid got the money, then how is it 4 or 5 separate accounts? How was it 5 or 6 separate accounts? That, again, the simplest thing most of the time is the answer. If I already went through all this hassle to take your money, why am I going to go and start splitting your money in between 4 or 5 different accounts? Explain that to me. What am I going to do? I'm going to go and file for 6 different EIN numbers, and I'm going to submit all of this stuff over to Sony. Well, when Sony get it, they going to say, all right, well, shit, who's the president? Who's the point of contact over there to confirm this? And once you see that it's the same person in the same office address, you defeating the purpose. You're not going to have your intended result with that. That's what I'm saying, man. But, man, listen. I appreciate everybody for coming on out. You know, I appreciate everybody for coming on out. I appreciate y'all for staying up with me. I appreciate y'all for staying up with me. Hopefully, I said something that might pique your interest, that inspires you to do more research. You know, listen, typically I would stay for questions, but it's what, 1, 2 in the morning now, 1:30 in the morning. I feel like I didn't reach my point. So I'm finna take y'all to the bridge, man. And if y'all got any questions or anything like that, you know, hey, my information is on this banner right here. And with no further ado, I'm finna take y'all to the bridge.
How many of you tonight are grateful? Can we just lift those holy hands? Come on, let's just begin to tell the Lord thank you for it. Those things that he does, those things, those wonderful things. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Come on, keep those hands lifted in the sacrifice of prayer. And listen to this praise. Grateful. Grateful. Lord, I'm grateful. Lord, I'm grateful. Grateful for the things you've done for me. Grateful. Grateful. Lord, I'm grateful. Lord, I'm grateful. Grateful. I give my all to thee. Oh, grateful. Lord, I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. You've done. Come on, if you're grateful, put your hands together. Come on, put your hands together. Come on, you say it with us this time. Say, Lord, I praise you. Praise you. Come on, stand in this. Lord, I praise you. Lord, I praise you. Come on, think about what he's done. Praise you. Praise you. For the things you've done for me. For the things you've done for me. Come on, one more time. Everybody, praise you. Praise you. Thank you. Lord, I praise you. Lord, I praise you. Praise you. Praise you. I give my all to thee. I give my all to thee. Come on, everybody. Oh, praise you. Lord, I praise you. For everything. For everything you've done for me. You've done. Come on, wherever you are listening to me, come on, just slip those hands up right now. Come on, whatever you're doing, just take a minute and praise the Lord and tell him yeah. Hallelujah. Come on, tell him yeah. Yes. Come on, just open your mouth and start to worship him now. Come on, God wants to do something in here tonight. Come on, open up your mouth and tell him how much you love him, how grateful you are. Come on, open up your mouth and praise the Lord. Come on, don't get tired, don't get tired. He's worthy of it, he deserves it. He deserves it. Help me, choir. Hallelujah, because I'm grateful. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because I'm grateful. Because I'm grateful. Come on. I lift my hands and praise you. I lift my hands and praise. Because I'm grateful. I lift my hands and praise you. I lift my hands and praise. Because I'm grateful. Because I'm grateful.